Hello chess friends and welcome to Zarov's chess channel and welcome to my series How to Spot Chess Tactics. So in this series we're searching for these positions in which tactical possibilities are there, in which tactical possibilities are present. Basically in this series we're searching for positions in which you should consider the option to do this tactical shot. So if you have noticed, I have my chess tactics and chess puzzle series on my YouTube chess channel. This is a little bit different because in this chess tactics and chess puzzle series we are covering all of the possible tactical motifs and these common checkmate patterns that can happen to you in a chess game. In this series we're searching really for these positions in which you should really have sort of a trigger, and that's the position in which I should maybe create a tactical shot. So far we have covered positions like the weakened king's position, maybe this lack of defender situation, more attackers than defender situations, many of these great attacking possibilities. But today we'll do this common chess tactic possibility. It's a so-called piece activity. The piece activity, whenever you have a huge piece activity with all of your pieces, it means that basically you cannot find a better square for your piece. Basically your pieces are on the best potential squares on the board. You should then really search for tactical possibilities because basically there's nothing much to do. You cannot improve the position of the pieces upon move. Basically it's a slow move, or sometimes we have a position in which reposition of a piece would just simply to take too much time, maybe to reposition a knight and try to find a better square, and maybe we had a possible tactical shot immediately and we didn't recognize it in the game, but then we analyzed the game at home and we got frustrated because we didn't see the obvious move. So here is an example that I've set up for you. It's a game played by Ivan Cheparinov. He's also a Grustop grandmaster now these days. He's very well tactical prepared. Here you see all of the white pieces are in perfect shape. They're on best squares basically on the board. The queen is very well placed, attacking the f7. This bishop is very active. We have a battery on the d file. The bishop is also aiming on the king. So basically here we cannot improve the position of our pieces. So that's why here we should try a tactical shot. Sometimes I'm just warning you, it's not possible to create a tactical shot, but at least in this series I want you to have sort of a trigger, because sometimes you should at least consider the option to do a tactical shot. So here you can pause the video and try now to find the best next move. It's maybe not so obvious, but it's a really great sacrifice that Ivan Cheparinov has played here. I hope you can find the move, and it's of course queen to f7. Very cool move, queen sacrifice. If you take rook takes f7 like Cheparinov's opponent did, then we have rook takes f7, and here king to h8, and now Ivan Cheparinov played rook to d7. Now there is this threat to create the rook on h7, and it's a forced checkmate. If you bring the bishop in between, then again we have this battery on the 7th rank. Again, nothing has changed. If you try something like bishop to e7 in order to cover here, then we have rook takes e7, rook takes e7, and you cannot prevent anymore this bishop on e5 idea. It's again checkmate, so you basically have to give up the queen, and white is going into an endgame with one rook up, and this is of course completely winning for white. But let's go back to this critical moment. Here you see all of the pieces were on the best square, so that's why at least you should have considered the option to do a tactical shot. As I mentioned, sometimes it's not possible, but these situations, these huge activity situations, have to be sort of a trigger for you in order to at least consider this tactical possibility. So let's see now another example. Here it's a game played by former world champion Veselin Topalov. Here with the white pieces again, we have a huge activity. Basically I cannot find a better square for the knight anymore on the board, maybe on f6, but the queen is covering that square. So far the knight is on the best square. The queen is also centralized on the best square, aiming on both sides, aiming also here on the e file and also on the 4th rank. The rook's activity is a huge one. The rook is now the most important piece on our board, because here we have also possibilities to create dangerous attacks on the 3rd rank. Here g3, h3, f3 even. So you see we have really a huge piece activity. So now it's time to consider a tactical shot. Here again, try to pause the video and try to find the best next move. Try to find this tactical shot that Veselin Topalov of course found in the game. and take your time. I'm just leaving you a couple more seconds. Okay, I hope you found this next best move, because now we have the possibility to play a nice knight sacrifice. Knight takes e6, we have f takes e6, we have queen takes e6, but the more important thing is that this queen takes e6 move comes with the tempo, so now you have to cover your rook or escape with the rook. If you try queen to d7, then it's game over. We have queen to f6 attacking the king, king to g8, and now rook g3. We have now a checkmate sequence. You have to cover with your queen, and again we have some dangerous attacks. We can also bring our rook on the e file, so this is game over for black. So in the game, after queen takes e6, rook to e7 was played, and now rook to g3. Anyway, we have queen to f8. If you try queen to f7, then it's again game over, because we have now here the possibility to play queen to e5. You have to cover with the queen, but now queen to e8, and again it's game over. In the game, after queen to e6, as said here, queen to f8 was played, and now rook from a to a7. Now black is trying to bring another defender into the game, trying finally to cover here this g7. And now again pause the video and try to find now this tactical shot. Again, we have a huge piece activity. I hope you realize that. Again, we have a battery on the e file, we have a very active rook on the g file, which also cuts off here this king's ability to escape finally from this corner, the cornered square here on h8. Again, try to find the best next move. It's really a great sacrifice. Okay, in the game, Veselin Topalov played very nice queen to f6 with the check. Now if you take, you get this stunner, rook to e8, and it's game over. Great tactics here by the legendary Veselin Topalov. Let's see now another example. Here again, I'm pointing out, here we have a huge activity with our knight. The knight is on a good square. This bishop is also very active, although we have a little bit blocked out situation here. And here the bishop still has a good diagonal, but the more important thing is that this active rook on the h file is sort of a cornerstone from which we should build our attack. I'm pointing you again out, we have a huge activity with the queen, knight, bishop, and the rook, but maybe the bishop needs some improvement, or this rook also on a1. But improving the position of these two pieces, I think, takes too much time. So that's why maybe here we have a tactical shot. And so this is a situation in which we should at least consider the option to do a tactical shot. So in the game, Andrei Volodkin here with the white pieces. I hope you can find the move. He played knight takes d5. Now with the discovered attack on the bishop, if you take with the bishop, of course, then knight to e7 leads into checkmate. This is a very nice mate here with the knight, and you cannot escape here on the h file, because this rook is very active. So in the game, after knight takes d5, we have rook takes d5, bishop takes g5, and now queen to b2. If you try rook d4, then rook to c1, and you lose the rook here. That's why here black tried queen to b2, and maybe try some rook to c3 ideas attacking the queen. But now here white simply continued, bishop takes bishop on f6 attacking the knight. If you don't react correctly, if you try this rook on c2 or rook on c3 idea, then it's very dangerous, because we have rook, bishop takes g7, after king takes, then queen to f6, it's checkmate. So that's why after bishop to f6, here knight to d7 was played, covering finally this f6 square, because it's really a weak square in black's position. And again, bishop takes g7, king takes g7, and again pause the video and try to find now the best next move. Again, I'm pointing out, now we have the position in which we have a huge piece activity. Now the rooks are connected, which is the most important thing, because we can reload this rook on the h file. You see how these rooks are working very well together. Here we have the possibility to play again a very nice rook sacrifice, rook on rook to h7 with the check. You have to take here king takes h7, but now queen takes h7. The king has to escape. If you escape on h8, then you get checkmated immediately. So you have to go to h6, rook on h1, attacking the king, king to g5, and now queen to f4 leads into a forced checkmate line. Great attack here by white, again using this activity of the pieces. You see these pieces were a little bit passive, were not participating in the defense of blacks. Let's see now another example. Here we have a game played by Sergei Karyakin with the white pieces. Sergei Karyakin, the former World Championship challenger, against Magnus Carlsen. Here, his opponent tried to move d4. So here we have also an important element of the chess game. It's the so-called counterattack. We have sort of a piece activity and a counterattack motif here, played by white. Again, try to pause the video and try to find the next best move, because again we have a huge activity with the bishop. The rooks are on active squares. We have advanced pawns, so the pawns are also very active. Basically, the only piece that needs improvement is this knight to c3, but improving the knight is a little bit too slow, because if you try something like knight to e4, attacking the queen, the problem is that black can simplify the position, try to trade off the queens, and this wouldn't be a good continuation for white. This is simply winning for black, I think, because there are also some tactical possibilities here for black. We have some weaknesses here on b2 and b1, so that's why this reposition of the knight is, as I said, a little bit too slow. So here in the game, Sergei Karyakin finds a very nice move. He played the move h6. Very nice counterattack. Let's see the possible continuation. If you take d takes c3, then bishop to h7, creating this very annoying check. If you escape with the king, then we have h takes g7, king takes, and now queen to f6, again checkmate, because if you go with, you cannot escape anymore with the king. The bishop is protected. The same idea if you here after this bishop to h7 idea. If you take the bishop, then we have the discovered attack by the rook. You have to take, and now queen to f6, again very nice checkmate here. So if you try in this position to play after the move h6, if you try queen to e5, trying to trade off the queens, then we have this bishop to h7 anyway. After king to h8, we have again this very annoying move, h takes g7. You have to take. If you take, then queen to h4. Very annoying stuff here to handle for black. Again, you have to retreat somewhere with the rook, because you have to create some spaces for a king, maybe trying to escape. But now queen to h6 anyway. If you try to cover, then here bishop to d3 leads into a very annoying stuff. If you try king to g8, then knight to e4. You see now using all of our pieces in the attack, and now this knight to f6 leads into huge material loss here for black, or into checkmate sequences. So great move here by Sergei Karyakin, this counterattack h6 using all of the pieces. So in the game, his opponent tried to move g6, but now very nice move, knight to d5, cutting off this very important connection between the queen and this pawn on e5, because black would love to take out this e5 pawn and then cover the g7 square. In the game, queen to d5 was played now, but now bishop to c4, we have queen takes e4, and now queen to f6. Now the checkmate is unpreventable. You can maybe try some checks, but now after a couple of checks, it's not a problem anymore. We can hide with our king here on the light square. If you try here some checks, again we can escape. No more checks are possible. So now in the next move we can try queen to g7, and it's game over. Let's see now another example. Here again I'm pointing you out that white has a huge piece activity. This is now a game played by Francisco Valeo Pons. Here pause the video and again try to find the best next move. All of the white's pieces are basically on very active squares. The rook on the e file, this rook on the a file, but the more important thing is that this rook can change the direction of the attack. It can really dance a little bit around on the third rank. This knight's activity is a huge one. It's a perfect centralized knight. This bishop's activity is also very powerful. Maybe we have some discovered attack possibilities on the rook on a8. And now, although the queen is on the starting square, but the queen's activity is not evaluated if the queen is on the starting square or if it's centralized. The queen has always sort of good diagonals, good files. So try to find now the best next move. Take your time. It's really an aggressive move. It forces black to do something. In the game, knight to e6 was played by Francisco Vallejo Pons with the fork on the king and the queen, so black has to react. After f takes e6, we have d takes e6, discovered attack by the bishop on the rook. So here d5 was played, and now rook to f3. Here the black has to play knight to f6, and now very important move h4. Now we're using all of our pieces in the attack because, as I said, here we have again a position in which we have a huge activity with our pieces, also with our queen. The bishop, of course, has still this discovered attack possibilities. So whenever you face these types of positions, whenever you face a position which basically you cannot improve the position of the pieces, maybe the best next move is a pawn move. So it's also sort of a rule in chess. After h4, queen to g6 was played, and now queen to d5. You see how important it was to deflect the queen from the defense of this d5 pawn. Here rook to a7 was played, but now again e7, forcing again black to do something. After rook takes e7, rook takes e7. If you don't take the rook, of course, you have huge material loss here. Queen to b1, creating a check, but not a problem. Here we have king to h2. Again, you cannot play knight to g4 because of this very annoying pin. So that's why king takes e7 was played, but now rook to e3. You have to cover. If you retreat, then you get checkmated here on d8. Here queen to bishop to e6 was played, queen to e6, and in this position black resigned. Again, we have a perfect attack here by the rook and this bishop. It's here game over. Okay, I hope you realize these ideas. Let's go back to this first example. Here is a good example of this piece activity. All of our pieces are on perfect squares, so that's why you cannot improve the position anymore of your pieces. Maybe we have here a tactical shot. Ivan Cheparinov saw this move. It was a great queen sacrifice on f7, using all of our pieces. Then after that in the attack, and black was simply lost. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can follow my previous videos from the series, from this how to spot chess tactics videos, with some more of this pattern recognition when it's possible to create these tactical shots. And you can also watch my chess tactics and chess puzzles series, in which I show you all of the possible tactical motifs that can happen to your chess game, and also this checkmate patterns are there in that series. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thank you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.